So after the last sort of like video I done on Gran Turismo, I did say that I was going to be going to buy Project Cars 2. Today I did. Got home. I bought the physical edition this time, just in case, for whatever reason I didn't like it and I wanted to get rid of it. I wasn't going to make the same mistake as I did with Gran Turismo. So here you go. Here is my video about Project Cars 2. So when I first put it in, or when you do first put it in, before it completely installs, you can actually play a very limited version of the game. It's on one of the American, like California, like road circuits. To be honest, it's a horrible circuit. It really is, and it only gives you one car to play with at first, which is the McLaren, I think 720S, I think it is. An awesome car, but the track is horrible. So anyway, as I let it install, then it come down to like playing the real thing, and initially sort of like first impressions were straight away I felt instantly more satisfied playing or putting this on than what I did putting Gran Turismo on. I don't think it's as polished as Gran Turismo. I mean, it may be different in a 4K TV with a PS4 Pro, but that's not what I've got. So initially, like this opening sequence that you're watching here, I do think Gran Turismo looks massively better. I genuinely do, even on my TV. So in terms of that sort of thing, that point goes to Gran Turismo. But still, like Gran Turismo, it kind of gives you that whole feeling of what racing's all about, and you can see the cars here and the different tracks and things like that are in Project Cars already. So there you go, that's the opening sequence of Project Cars 2. When you come to the main menu, as you can see, there's so much stuff to do. I'll start with this one, which is something that Gran Turismo hasn't got. Yay, a career mode! Finally a career mode. In the same vein as what Project Cars does, you create your new driver. Pardon me. You create your new driver. You pick the class that you want to start in, which is in this is a whole host of things like it was in Project Cars, the first one. So in this one, obviously you've still got your go-karts, you've still got your open wheel cars, you've got your GT tracks, GT cars, sorry, and you've also got your off-road and your sort of like Le Mans cars, etc., and things like that. So all of that stuff that was in Project Cars that I think made it really, really good is all there. The quick play bit is literally what it says on the tin. So you can create a custom race, a custom offline race, or you can do your own private testing, which is you picking whatever car that you want to specifically use for like your online events or custom racing or whatever, and hone your skills on whatever track you choose, getting the right setup for the car. For those of you who have played Project Cars in the past, the tuning is absolutely massive in this game, the same as it was in the first one. So you've got your online events there. Online ones I haven't done. I'll have a look at that in a bit. Community. It's sort of time, like it says there, compete in focused time trial style open or esport events using specific cars on a specified track. I haven't looked at that yet. That's something that I will come back to. Then you've got your normal time trial, which you can use to compete against like world leaderboard times, etc., and your friends and everything like that as well. And you've also got your esports option on there, which is obviously the esport events that the kind of driving games seem to be pushing at the moment for like online racing. You've got usual profile bit. As you can see, there's a couple of bits there. Played it for a total of an hour, started 4 races, and the specific cars that you've picked, any photos you've taken, videos you've recorded, etc., things like that. Then you come to your options. The options in this are just extensive. They are so extensive. I'll come back to that in a minute because that will take a bit to go through if you really want to. If you don't want to, then skip through it, and what I'll try and do on the video when I upload it is I will put on there the times that I'm going to sort of like go through each bit, because I think this is going to be quite a lengthy video because there's a lot to talk about with this. This one was an interesting one for me. I never used it on Project Cars, the first one, but there are apps that you can download from the Play Store or from your iTunes the App Store on Apple, and you can use some of the apps in there to give you like your telemetry of your car on your phone and things like that. I think you can adjust your settings of your car from your phone and things like that, and that gives you the option to do that within that. I haven't got a clue how it works, if I'm perfectly honest. It requires a little bit of fiddling around. Excuse me. As you can hear, I've got a bit of a cough at the moment as well. The extras bit at the end, it's got all your sort of like community pages and your social media, etc., things like that. Also the credits for the game and the team from WMD, and you've got gear, which I'm presuming this is like t-shirts, etc., things like that. I'll tell you what, the credits, a bit self-explanatory really. So the first thing I'm going to look at, like I said a minute ago, was this, because it is quite extensive. The rest of it is kind of pretty self-explanatory really and won't take too long to go through, but this, I'll go through it, we'll have a look at some of the settings and things like that. I don't know all the ins and outs and details of it, but you'll get a general idea and a general feel from what you can do within this game if you are new to it. So we're going to gameplay setting, so authenticity, so this is where you adjust all your assists and things like that. So you've got your steering assistance, braking, driving assists. Driving assists, if you're curious, driving assist acts as a parent controller for ABS, stability control and traction control. If you turn it off, everything is turned off. If it's on full, everything is turned on. Authentic is obviously where you can sort of like adjust it, so you can have that either on or off, or on or off, etc. Damage type you can have as completely off, so that you will never harm your beautiful car. Visual only, which I've had on, and I've got to be honest, there was a couple of times when I was getting used to it, I did wreck a few cars, but thankfully no kind of real mechanical failure or anything like that, although the mechanical failure is on. You can have it as performance impacting, so if you are not actually saying, oh there you go, damage is applied to the vehicle's aesthetics and performance but will not allow for any damage that will prevent you completion of a race. Fair enough. So basically things that you damage on a car will impair your car's performance but won't actually kill your car. I think that's what it means. Full damage, self-explanatory really. Basically you whack it into a wall, your wheels and suspension is going to fall apart and your car's just going to die. And then back to off. I'll keep it on visual only for now. Mechanical failures, I did have mechanical failure when I was first playing this in the McLaren. Basically because I was struggling to get used to controlling the car around the track, I did hit the walls quite a lot, and it does cause damage, but because you have to obviously then sort of like reverse or whatever to turn the car around, if you want to do it that way, you can just press the sensor button in the middle and it will just put you straight back on the track. If you want to reverse it around or whatever, do whatever, it revs it quite high, so the engine temperature tends to skyrocket, and as soon as it gets to around about the 300-degree mark, it will come up with a warning, or you'll get told either in the headset or from the controller, because your pit crew will talk you through your controller, and they will say to you, don't use so many revs because basically your engine's going to blow up. Yeah, so I had that a couple of times. Tyre wear, authentic, I think it's the best way to have it. If you're new to sort of like driving games and things like that, but you like watching motorsport, then it will act in exactly the same way. So if you're in a hot day and you've got a soft compound tyre on, you will get maximum grip, but you will chew through those tyres very, very quickly, especially throwing it in and out of bends and things like that. Fuel usage, you can have it as off, real or slow. Real, I haven't run out of fuel yet in the races that I've done, so auto engine start, this I thought was something quite cool, because you can, when it says auto engine start and you turn it off, it actually means that when you start the car you have to press a button, you have to dip your clutch and things like that. It's like driving a real car, which with a controller, I tried it in project cars and it is a little bit of, it's very confusing to do on a controller. If I had the steering wheel and the pedals and things, because I know how to drive, obviously makes it a little bit different, but that is one of the options that you can have. Rules and penalties on and off, so if you want to cut a corner, or you're one of those people that just wants to cut corners and things like that, then turn it off, or ram cars off the road, then turn it off. If you turn it on, it's the best way to be, I think. I think in that sense it does actually teach you to drive with a little bit more caution and things like that as well, so you tend not to like whack into cars to, you know, sort of help you get round a bend, cutting corners and things like that. It's just not the way to do it really. Manual pit stop. Manual pit stop determines, and reading this from there as you can see, manual pit stop determines whether or not you keep full control of the car in the pit lane and during a pit stop, requiring you to drive in, stop and exit your pit box. Switching this option to yes gives you full control of your vehicle when in the pit lane. The option set to no removes any manual control of the vehicle when in pit lane. The only time that you take over during the pit lane is when if you're coming into the pit lane, you'll see a set of cones that you'll drive through, and then it goes into like automatic driving. When you're driving through the pit lane after you've done whatever you want to do in the pit, you'll see two, I think it's green cones that you drive through, and then you take control of the car again. Pit stop cinematics, haven't really seen any, if I'm perfectly honest. I haven't really had to use the pit or anything like that. Manual cooldown lap determines whether you keep control of your car when crossing the start and finish line at the end of the race. Switch this option on, allows you to control the car after you cross the finish line. It's fair enough. Rolling start. I thought this was quite interesting earlier on. It was a feature that I hadn't seen before. I know what rolling starts are, but I hadn't actually used one or anything like that. So when you go to actually start a race in like your career mode, for example, after you've done your practice and your qualifying, have it on a rolling start, you will literally drive around the track like you see on the TV, where the cars or whatever sort of you see was like weaving and things to warm up their tyres. All that sort of stuff's in there. It's actually quite cool. If you want realism, then it's one of those things that's quite good. Radio subtitles. Like I said, when the pit crew and everything are talking to you, it will come through your controller, and you can just choose to have the subtitles on for that. Subtitles I think are good to have on there, because I haven't figured out how to actually transfer the audio from the controller to my headphones. I'm using a set of Turtle Beach headphones, so they're kind of, they sort of diffuse all the noise and things that sort of like around the outside of me and things like that, so you tend not to really hear what's coming through the controller. The next bit is on-screen guides and displays. The heads-up display, so you can have it full, so it will give you all your like telemetry and things like that. You can flick through it while you're driving. Tells you your tyre temperatures, what tyres you've got on, how much your suspension is working and things like that. There's so much detail in it. Driving line, if you want it. I never use it anymore. I used to when I first started playing project cars and things like that, just to get used to sort of driving the tracks, but I tend not to use it now. So it will tell you kind of when to, it'll go, I think it goes red when you, obviously when you want to brake, and it changes colours all the way through to green. Pretty self-explanatory really. Turn indicator, haven't used it yet, but I did realise it was on there because I know it was in the first one. Haven't used it yet though. On screen it's just to tell you what kind of corner is coming up next, which if you are new to the game or something like that, that's probably quite a good thing to have. Track map, don't really need to tell you about that. Starting grid lights, that's like a visual thing that comes up on your screen when you're starting your race. Cockpit wheel driver, option for toggling the wheel and driver animations when in cockpit view. Switches option on, enables full driver wheel animations. Yeah, so basically you'll see the hands on the wheel, you see him turning the wheel, changing the gears, you know, whatever. component names, multiplayer only, single player only, race engineer, authentic. If it's off, doesn't provide you with any information. If it's on, or like authentic, race engineer's information is true to the era and motorsport. Always means that race engineer provides all race information regardless of era and the motorsport. I've just left it on authentic. I haven't tinkered around with that too much. Spotter. Spotter feeds you information about the location of your opponent. Oh right, okay. So he will tell you if you need to kind of like push up on the next person in front of you, or exploit a weakness and things like that, so you can then get the overtake and stuff. He gives you that kind of information. Proximity indicator tells you how close you are to the cars. Pit stop visual cue indicates where your pit box is located in the pit lane. Display units, imperial or metric, so either in kilometers an hour or miles per hour. And there are tutorial things on there as well. I've just left them on, so that's that part of the gameplay options. Then you've got visual effects. The list is literally endless of the stuff that you can have in this. You know, changing sort of like how intense your sun flare is, the heat haze on the floor, how heavy the raindrops are and things like that. It's just immense, because you do have complete autonomy over your car. You can turn the wipers on and off and things like that to clear your windscreen and stuff. So everything that you can do pretty much in the car, you can do in this game. And that's what I loved about Project Cars when I played the first one. It's just that level, that next level of like authenticity, just brilliant. The camera options lets you adjust the position. So if you're driving in a car in like third person, if you like, so you're behind the car, you can adjust the camera angle of, or how far behind the car that you are, and that applies to like the bumper camera, the bonnet camera, the roof camera, and things like that as well. Helmet camera. There's just so much stuff on there. Movement, haven't touched any of this. High speed shake, so obviously the faster you go, it tends to sort of like blur a little bit, gives you a greater sense of speed. Helmet depth of field. Helmet looked at apex. I got the idea of this in the first one, but it kind of confused me a little bit. It's one of those things, I think if it was a VR setting it'd be perfect, but in this I find it quite confusing. So there's two helmet cams, so one of them is the camera from your perspective in the car. You can see the steering wheel, but you drive as if you were in any other mode, with the helmet looked at apex on in the other helmet view. So as you're coming to apex, your driver on the screen will literally turn his head left or right to follow the apex, so that will kind of give you the hint on like where you're needing to turn, etc. Helmet leaning and camera leaning. If you're going to a right bend, you'll see the camera lean to the right, etc., and things like that, or the helmet will lean to the right and stuff. Controls, loads of different control options in this. I'm presuming you can probably have your controller as like a wireless steering wheel. I presume. That's just a guess. You might not be able to. I might be lying on that, but I'd imagine you probably can. Configuration. I haven't used a steering wheel in Project Cars or anything like that, so this to me doesn't really mean much. But you guys, if you play Project Cars or whatever and you use a steering wheel, then this will make perfect sense to you. Button assignments for gear up, gear down. For first gear, you can have different buttons for first gear, second gear. Really? Oh wow, there is a lot of stuff there. You've got your clutch, your handbrake, things like that. That's all there. Oh, vehicle. So you've got the buttons there to start your engine, to turn your headlights on, your KERS, your DRS. The pit stop and things like that is generally done by, when you're driving, if you press up on your D-pad, it brings up a menu at the bottom of the screen where you can scroll through and select different options. And I think you press right. What's my phone going off? you press right on the D-pad to select that option. Increase brake bias. Oh my life, that's just crazy, the amount of stuff that's in this. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, your ignition, start engine, headlights. Wow. Assistance, it's all there. If you want it on, you can adjust how sensitive it is. Camera view. So using your right, this is where you use your right thumbstick to look around your car, look around, see what's coming, whatever. Have the ability to adjust your seating position, angle. I think they had that in the first one as well. Reset the car, so if you spin out and you're stuck or whatever, you can quickly press that and it will plonk you back on the track, facing the right way, ready to go. The Motec LCD display, I think they had that in the first one. I believe it's on new configuration. Oh my life, what is this? Circle button is currently assigned to cursor, which replaces it. No! Leave it like that for now. Oh, so that's your menu where you select all your options and things during the race. And then lastly is force feedback. Don't have the force feedback because obviously that's for your steering wheel and things. So that's all that. You've got TV calibration, which doesn't actually do anything. I think that's if you are changing the settings on your TV, if you're able to do so. And then your audio, self-explanatory really. Turn the volume up and down in various different settings. Doesn't really say any more about that. Then you've got the system one that I was saying about. UDP frequency on or off, wasn't too sure what that was, and that, not 100% too sure what that was, but I'll figure it out at some point. So next option is going to be what we're looking at. So my profile, don't really need to show you that, that's kind of very self-explanatory like I just said a minute ago. Community, nah. Quick play, let's get on with it, shall we? Right, okay, so I'll do it as a custom race, because obviously then you'll get the other cars on the track and things. So if you see down the bottom here where the start button is, you've got favourites.
You can save up to 4 custom event setups to your favourites. Simply toggle the ones you want to keep and load them up to jump back into the race.
So that's what I mean by the audio coming through your remote control. It's you don't hear it in your headphones, which I find a bit distracting. I find that quite annoying actually. So favourites, literally you can go in here, select your favourite track, favourite car, and then crack on. Motorsport presets, not sure what that is.
Select from the list to quickly load event settings specific to that motorsport, including race length, number of opponents and rules and regulations. You can then further fine-tune presets within your race, opponents and rules and regulations settings.
And there you go, I didn't even have to speak. Right, okay. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, so for each type of event it sets up a certain amount of stuff. So it will show you'll have certain cars allocated to that specific type of motorsport, certain track types, certain amount of laps, rolling starts, on and off, etc., things like that. So it's just kind of like catered to each racing category. I suppose it's quite a good option actually, because that kind of instantly, someone keeps texting me, that's very annoying. So it gives you an idea of the type of racing events that you can actually have in this in Project Cars. So you've got your Rallycross, IndyCar, GT, endurance racing, and you can have 24-hour endurance races. That's just like mental. Your go-karts, open wheel like Formula 1, your touring car events, track day events, and your road cars. So yeah, pretty cool. So go back to here, there is an option there to look at the rules and regulations of your racing and your opponent's settings. So you can have it as loads of drivers, loads of different cars on the track, all of them identical to the car that you are driving, or you can have a mixture. I think mine was set to 5 laps as well, yeah, so you can adjust the amount of laps. I think you can have well, there's 3 digits on there, so I haven't checked it all, but I don't know if you can have 999 laps or not, or if it just goes up to like 100 or something. I'm not really sure. So for this, I've disabled practice and qualifying earlier on. Let's just have a look at the cars then. So if I start up at the top, so instantly when I looked at this, I just breathed a massive sigh of relief, because I was very nervous after playing Gran Turismo. I wasn't too sure of the cars that were going to be available to play in Project Cars, and thankfully I wasn't disappointed. If you did watch the other video, you would have heard me mention about the hypercars, so about the McLaren P1, the Porsche 918, and the Ferrari LaFerrari. They're all in here. Thank God that they're all in here. So this is all the cars. The option there to view all of them, or you can go through it brand by brand. So Acura, if you're not sure who Acura are, they are just the American kind of equivalent of Honda. So that is essentially Honda NSX and the Honda NSX GT3. Although these ones are specifically the Acura ones, because there is actually a Honda option on here with Honda cars in it for kind of the central part of Europe, and obviously like the Asia Pacific side of things. Never heard of them. Don't know what that is, but it looks a bit mental. Looks like proper like a real old school racer, going back to like the 50s, possibly something like that. Oh, there you go, 1963. So I didn't see the date on there. Aston Martin. It's all there. There's some really good cars, and the Vulcan, I drove that earlier on, and yeah, it's pretty mental. If you've got a decent headset on, turn the volume up quite loud, because it's just like being in the car, I'd imagine. Now on my TV you'll see the image of the car there. As like I said earlier, I don't think it looks as polished as Gran Turismo, but I think if this was a PS4 Pro with a 4K TV, I think that would look dramatically different, because in the game it looks a lot better. So you've got Audi, rather than just like the two cars or whatever it was in Gran Turismo. You've actually got a good selection of cars here from Audi. Project Cars are quite good for bringing out content as well, so I'd imagine they will bring out more of these cars. So they'll bring out the RSs and things like that possibly at some point. The BAC Mono, various Bentleys, the Le Mans Speed 8 there as well. BMWs, loads of BMWs. Some really nice looking ones as well, going all the way down to your GT3 class, your LMs. That's quite nice. I thought that was quite cool. Cadillac. Don't know too much about Cadillac. Obviously I know it's an American company, but very rarely see them in kind of any racing games. So welcome to the racing. Caterham, got your 7620R there and your SP300R. You've got Chevy in there, obviously with the incredible Corvette C7, and the opposite. Well, there'll be the Indy cars. You can tell the difference sort of looking at them. One's the Indy 500 series, and yeah, Ferraris, they're all in there. You've got your Enzo, your F50 GT, Ferrari LaFerrari, sorry, the 330 P4 at the top there, and the 288 GTO. Ford. What I was hoping to see here from Ford, and it's not, was actually maybe both sort of like renditions of, or all three of the renditions of the Focus RS. I think that would have been quite nice to see. The old school Sierra Cosworth, still an absolute beast. And then you got the new Ford GT. F-150 truck, cool. And then the old school RS 1600s and rallycross ones, which is quite smart. Ginetta, don't know too much about Ginetta. I know they're in the first one, they're in this one as well. There is an entire racing series devoted to Ginetta. These are the Honda cars, so I'm hoping they're going to bring more Honda cars into it. So you've got the Formula 1 equivalents on there as well, plus the rally car. I think that's a rally car. I presume that's Group C Rally. Yeah, WRX. Yeah, okay. You got Jag. So you've got the new F-Type, and you've got the old XJ220S. Haven't actually seen the 220S before, I've got to be honest. KTM, KTM Crossbow and Crossbow R, or Expo, whichever way you want to call it. 7 Lamborghinis, awesome. Hurricane, Hurricane ST, GT3, Sesto Elemento, and the Veneno, which is just a mental car. Basically weighs about as much as a packet of crisps, I think, in comparison to some of them. It's just insane. Not too sure who they are. Yeah, almost looks like the old original Batmobile. Not too sure about them. Never heard of them before. Lotus. So you've got all your old school Lotus open wheel cars. And that 98T, I think it was that one, the 98T, or the Lotus 78. I remember playing it in the first one, and oh my, it sounds amazing. Marek, which I believe is developed specifically for project cars, I think. I'm sure it was. Mazda MX-5, nice to see a few more of them in there, maybe the RX-7, etc., things like that. And then you've got the McLarens. So it's nice to see, like the 570S. I can officially say that I have driven that car and driven it at speed as well, and it's incredible. The guy that took me around the track and was teaching me was part of the development team for the 570S, and yeah, he was awesome. I'm hoping that they were going to let me drive that, but nah, no chance. Mercedes in there. Oh, I didn't realise that. Oh, you've got Mercedes AMG, I never noticed this before, and you've got Mercedes Benz. Okay, cool. The original CLK LM there, that was spectacularly flipped during the, I think it was the 24-hour Le Mans race, I think it was. And a Mini Countryman RX, quite smart. Mitsubishi. Again, a bit better than Gran Turismo with like one Evo. This has like 3 road-going Evos and the touring car one. I say touring car, the GT car one, which is quite nice. But nice. It would be nice to have seen some of the rally ones in there, I've got to be honest. The closest one to the rally one there is the TME, which is the Tommy Mäkinen edition. Nissan, so got loads of Nissans, which is always good. Got the brand new GTR Nismo. That's an old school one. That was in the original Gran Turismo when it first came out and was immense, if I remember rightly. And then got an R34 there, which is nice to see. I do love the R34, still a favourite. Oldsberg MSE, never heard of them, don't know what it is, but I believe it's a rally car based on a Ford, just like a Ford Fiesta. So I'm assuming that's what it is, and Oldsberg's is a tuning company of some description. Oreca, Team Oreca, generally I think they were associated with Dodge a long time ago. I don't know if they still are or not. Pagani, yay, Huayra, Zonda Cinque, and a Zonda Revolution. Haven't seen that car before, but it looks very much like the Pagani's Zonda R, was it? I think, I can't remember now. Immense car. And Porsche have given Project Cars quite a few cars, which is nice to see. Be nice to see some more of the road-going ones, but you do have the 918 Spider there and a 911 GT3 RS. And then you've got the Radical cars, which are pretty awesome. Renault as well, so you've got various types of Renault, from the Clio Cup to the Renault Formula 1, the Megane Rallycross Edition, Touring Edition, and then you've got some of the other ones on there as well, the RS GT3, the V6 and the RS01. RWD, not 100% sure, but they are obviously the like LM cars for Le Mans, etc., things like that. SMS, not exactly sure. Oh, Slightly Mad Studios, of course it is. And this is their Formula 1 car, or open wheel class, sorry. That's pretty immense. I'm going to give that a drive at some point with 1,150 horsepower. I'll be struggle to keep that in a straight line. Toyota as well, with a few cars in there, all based around the GT86. It would be nice to see a few other Toyotas in there, but and then Volkswagen, the Polo RX, again would be nice to see a few more VWs in there. Even potentially Bugatti would be nice to be seen in this, as I think Volkswagen still own Bugatti. Excuse me, got a bit of a frog in my throat there. So yeah, so basically that's the cars. So come back to me in a minute, and I'm going to take this out for a blast. So as I'm about to take this out, something else I wanted to just quickly mention as well. The one thing that is missing from Project Cars, which I wish they would put one in, because I think it would just do them a great service, to be honest, would have like a proper livery editor. That's one of the things, one of the positives for me that was in Gran Turismo, is the fact that it did have a really good livery editor. You can select your own liveries in this, so when you go to the car, if you press square, you have these different options of different liveries. In Project Cars 1, you could do this as well, but when you were selecting the car and changing the livery, it was like a full screen version of the car, like spinning round, like rotating round, and you could see the livery sort of being applied. That would be quite nice if it still did that, but it's simple and it still works. I'm going to keep the original livery that was on it because I quite like it. So yeah, I'm going to take that. That's the circuit I was on about earlier on, and I am definitely not doing that because it's horrible. The circuits in this game, it's just so nice just to have real circuits as well. A really good selection of real circuits. So the Algarve, which I do believe is a real circuit, someone correct me if I'm wrong. Barcelona, Brands Hatch, Brno, Cadwell Park, Circuit of Americas, Daytona International Speedway, Donny, Dubai Autodrome, which I think is a real one, pretty sure it is, Hockenheim Classic and the full Hockenheim Ring. You've got Imola, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Knock Hill, Laguna Seca, Le Mans, not sure if that is or not, Lyddon Hill, about 45 minutes away from me, it's in Kent. Mercedes-Benz Ice Track, haven't done that one yet, will have a go of it. I'd imagine that'd be quite fun. And then you've got Mojave Desert, not sure if these are real circuits, but these are like your off-road ones set in the Mojave Desert, which is quite smart. You've got two versions of Monza there as well. You've got the classic Monza track, and you've got the current, I believe, Monza track. And then you've got the Nürburgring GP, not sure about that one. Alton Park, Red Bull Ring, which is in Vienna, Road America Circuit. What else we got on here? St. Pilot Ice Circuit, Silverstone Classic, Snetterton as well, Sonoma Raceway, which I know is a real track, Spa Francorchamps, I think that's how you pronounce it. You've got the historical version of that as well. There's just loads of stuff to pick on here. Willow Springs as well. Zolder, which I believe is a real circuit, I think. But for the purpose of this, because I haven't done it yet, I'm going to pick... Let's go Brands, shall we? Yeah, we'll go Brands Hatch. I haven't done Brands Hatch on this yet. So that's your options. Click on Start. So while I'm just waiting for this to load, every time this comes up, it will show you this thing on the right hand side, the track, the car, and it'll also give you the online leaderboard, like world timings, and it'll give you your friends' timings as well. I don't actually have any friends that play this at the moment, and before anyone edits that and says that I don't have any friends, I do. So here we go. So it gives you all your track temperatures and everything up the top there. Got clear skies all the way, the sun is shining. Different things on here obviously to change your tuning setups. What they have put in this, which I think is really good, the first time I encountered this was playing like MotoGP games, is where you can directly talk to your race engineer. You can identify simple problems like that, like you see on the screen. You click on it and he can offer suggestions on how to fix it. You tell him or not whether you want to fix it. You can also share your setups as well, which I think is quite good. Don't need to do anything there. Pit strategy is set to default, but you can edit it so that when you come into the pits they will refuel your car, they will change your tyres, and other such bits and pieces like that. So let's get going anyway.
Let's try and make up some ground here off the line. Keep it clean, keep your wits about you.
So start on the outside there, so really good detail on the cars, like I was saying, not quite as polished as Gran Turismo, but still very good. Oh yeah. The one thing that I have discovered with this is, if I'll get to a straight and I'll show you, the views I think they might need to update a little bit. The simple reason is because you get various feelings and sensations of speed depending on what view you're in, which is really confusing. Oh my god, this car is definitely live. You cannot put your foot down in this in a low gear because you just spin out and lose it. So I won't bother trying to compete, I'll just take you through it. So there we go, so on a straight, top view, that's what it looks like that, okay? And when I say about a sense of speed, I'll show you what I mean. Change to that one. Now, can you see the difference? So now it really does feel like I am driving at a ridiculous speed. I'm going to go straight off and into the gravel. So you can see there on the speedo, you can see the engine temperature climbing when you kind of put a lot of revs in it. The engine working ridiculously hard, heating up the engine, which will probably blow. Change it to another view. So this is on the nose, I believe. So again, a different sense of speed. Again, doesn't seem as fast as the bumper one, and definitely faster than the rooftop one, or the chase one. Sorry. This one kind of feels like the most sort of realistic that I've come across with the other cars. It gives you good perspective on the track. The speed sensation feels about right. The next one is that one in the cockpit. So this is the first cockpit view I was talking about earlier on from the helmet. So you can see obviously that's your visor basically that you're looking through. So really good detail on the dash and everything like that. A couple of other things that I've noticed while playing this sort of like the last couple of hours or whatever is I was saying to you about the sort of like sense of speed and things like that. I've also noticed there's something with like the sense of distance as well, with like the rear view mirror. So I will show you. Let me just start this race. So currently I'm starting in last place, so I need to get a couple of positions up first. God, this really does sound amazing in the headphones. Okay, so I should overtake this car here, get up, try and get up a few more. So in the rearview mirror, if you see, like there, it looks fairly far away, but they're actually there, they're actually very close. I don't know if that's something like very trivial, but that is a big difference to that rearview mirror. quite far away there, fairly close. So I mentioned something earlier about like sense of speed and things like that in the game. This is the best example I could find so far of what I mean. So, okay, we'll get back on that track. Come on. Right, so look at the speedo, so that's 50 miles an hour. That's nearly 100. And now you look at how fast the car appears to be going. It's really off-putting. The view's really, really odd. Right, so there you go. Right, so 100 mile an hour. Now let me get onto the start. And it's completely distracting. Right, now I'm going to flick to the front bumper view now. Right. Boom. Now look at it. The car is actually more manageable in this view than what it is the third, like the rear perspective. Whether or not this is like too much in a sense of speed or right, I couldn't tell you, but either way there is a massive difference between them. So I've just been tinkering around with some of the settings that I just found in here. I didn't really pay much attention to it at first. That's the wrong one completely. So on the camera settings there is an option that was on here that was set to no, which is that one. Speed sensitivity enables the camera's field of view to adjust as your speed increases and decreases, giving a greater sense of speed. If you wish to use speed sensitivity settings, set this option to yes, and you will then be able to fine-tune its settings to your preference. If you wish to disable it, set it to no. So I'm thinking, I was having a little tinker around with it. I couldn't kind of see the difference, but I'll be tinkering some more. But I think this might actually solve that whole kind of sense of speed feeling in the different views, so like the external views and the cockpit views and things like that. I will investigate a bit further on that. If you've got the game and you've messed around with these settings before, please put it in the comments below, just to kind of let me know for one, and to let other people know as well. Cheers. So the final part of the video is going to be about the online section. I'm going to try and get through it as quickly as humanly possible. I know the video's getting on for about an hour now, and I don't want to bore you any more than I probably have already. I hope this has kind of been of some use to you, just to sort of like have a look at the comparisons, or my comparisons, between Project Cars and Gran Turismo. So I'm going to get on the online section, and what I'm also going to do is, when it takes you through to the next bit where you can pick your race, I'm actually going to put the stopwatch on my phone to time how long it actually takes to get in the race, because Gran Turismo was just ridiculously long. So let's go browse online. Let's start there. So this is the forum, or the lobby, if you like, where it shows sort of like the races, the tracks, who's hosting the races, and like if there is a minimum grade required and things like that. The session bit on the right hand side with the 4 squares, it shows you sort of like what stage they are within the race. So like for example the first one there by Henketim, set at Willow Springs, and it's currently in practice session with 123 minutes remaining in the practice session. That's a long practice session, trust me. So I want to look for someone who has got a few in there. So 9 minutes remaining, there you go, perfect. So Piet 260 on a Red Bull Ring GP circuit, 6 people in the race. So let's start that now. So the stopwatch is on. There you go. It's that stage already. So this bit here is where you get to see the information about the track. It's set to a 9-lap race with a mandatory pit stop, and the starting type is standing, so that means that you will be from the actual start grid rather than a roll-in start. You can go in here to pick your cars, set to 3 different cars at the moment. So you've got the BM 320, A45 from Mercedes, and the Megane touring car. I have not driven the Renault, so I'm going to go with the Renault just for a laugh, just for this video. So pick the Renault, I'll keep it as the same livery, and then go, oh, silly sod, there you go, join. So there you go. So take maybe like 10 seconds off, or 15-20 seconds off of that. So it's just coming up to about a minute now. So there you go. So in less than 2 minutes I'm in and ready to go for the practice session. So I've never done the pit lane. Oh, there's a ghost car just went past. Ah, right, okay, so I actually drive out of the pits. Oh, okay, that's cool. So it's full pit control, and the speed limit in the pit lane is set to 37 miles an hour. A little bit of lag there, but someone's connection isn't obviously that great there.
So remember, now take it easy on these tyres and get some heat into them. Don't push too hard too early.
Come on mate, you can drive a little bit faster than that if you want to. Alright, let's get it on. So there you go. So apart from that little tiny bit of lag right at the start, there's no real kind of like lag on this. It runs just as smooth as the single player, which is really nice. And that bit there, so someone's obviously lagging a little bit, and I'm going to overshoot this turn completely. Very hard on the brakes though. You can hear the wastegate pumping away there. It's actually quite a decent car this. I haven't had a chance to drive it yet, but it's pretty good. Yeah, so yeah, definitely someone lagging out then. I know it's definitely not me. But on the whole, you can see that it's really smooth. There's no kind of loss in the graphics or anything like that. Whoa! Nice little bit of sideways action, the old Renault again. See if we can overtake this fella. Whoa! Hello, just disappeared. Not really sure what just happened there, but oh, I don't even know. Don't even know what happened there. Oh, overshot the turn massively. And there you go. There's qualifying complete. And I bumped myself into third position there, which is quite good. And I presume you've got to wait for the whole thing to finish, so presuming that is seconds, that leaves 1 minute left to the end of the qualifying session. And there you go, that's the qualifying complete.
Okay, that's qualifying over. We're outside the top three, but
I thought it said I'd qualified third there, but it's bumped me to fifth for some reason. I'm not really sure why.
This race features a mandatory pit stop. This means you must make one single pit stop at any time between the start of the race and the end of the race. Failing to make a pit stop.
So the warning that's playing at the moment, you can probably hear it slightly in the background, saying that basically the race features a mandatory pit stop. This means you must make one single pit stop between the start of the race and the end of the race. So how many laps was it? I can't remember now. Was it 9, I think, or something like that? So what I'll do is I'll complete the race. I'll do it as I'm here, and then I'll edit it in the video so that it will kind of speed through it. So as I'm getting ready for the start of the race here, as you can see, I was just having a quick look at the pit lane settings and things like that. And hang on a minute, it's for some reason, no, I don't want to quit the session. What's going on? Okay, that's very, very strange. I don't know why it's done that. Are you sure you want to quit this session? All progress will be lost. Well, I don't want to quit it. I want to race. So what's going on? Okay, so very bizarre. Not sure what's happened there. As far as I know, that was the race supposed to be starting, but now I can't get back. Cause I'm presuming if I say OK here, it's gonna just quit the race, which is a real shame. I've never actually had this happen to me before. Very, very confused right now. I'm just going to go OK because, as I said, I'm not really sure what's happened. That's the first time that's ever happened. As I said, I've done quite a few races, but that's, and there it's quit. That's really annoying. Very peculiar. Yeah, not. Oh, you've been disconnected from the multiplayer session, exiting session. How very, very odd. Like I said, that's actually never happened before. That's like the 6th race I've done now, so that's 2 races that kind of haven't panned out like they should. Not really sure what that was all about. I will try that again at some point, and I can tell you that it does work, and it does work very well. The last kind of race that I did that was a full race, there was no lag in it. Unfortunately, did see a bit of lag in that video there, but there was no lag in the video that I've done before. Someone was obviously lagging out, which is obviously, it can be the occasional issue when doing online gaming and stuff like that. So, yeah, it runs smooth like the single player does. It doesn't take that long to get in. I mean, that was less than 2 minutes with me talking as well and getting into the race and actually like participating within the qualifying laps as well. So yeah, it is pretty quick. It's a lot quicker than Gran Turismo. So hopefully for Sony and Polyphony's for their hope and things, I just hope that they do sort that out and get it done a bit quicker. So yeah, there you go. So that is Project Cars 2 in a nutshell on a PlayStation 4 on a standard TV. So let me know your views on this video if you've decided to watch it all the way through. As I said earlier on, I will put the timings on there so you know what sections to kind of like skip through to and things like that. Thanks very much again for watching. Give us a like, subscribe if you want to. Like I said, I'm always going to try and get some more videos and things up the more and more I get used to kind of like broadcasting and stuff like that. So but yeah, thanks very much.